And I think we're live now. There should be audio on the internet. And what I want to do is get the meetup started. And what we're going to do next is we're just going to go through some of the headlines that you guys popped up, hear about some of the cool things that are going on. And we'll do that for about 5 or 10 minutes. Let's start now. So I just want to go around the room. Don't say your own, say somebody else's. So if you heard something cool in your conversations this morning, a cool headline, just give it a shout out. So who would like to go first? Stand up. Don't be shy. Oh, there we go. Oh, Eve, and then Jeremy.
Robert raised 435% of his Kickstarter goal to start his Comancer game, and he's going to tell us how to do this with Kickstarter.
Awesome! Congratulations, Robert. All right, thanks, Eve. Jeremy?
Okay. I hope I don't embarrass myself. I met Jackie, right? Jackie? Yes. Jackie's a project exploration. She just started there recently. This is her first meetup. And she's a program manager, right? And right now they are running a forensics camp with teams doing crime scene investigations.
Awesome. Related to Codemancer. I'm not Codemancer, but the other thing. Paul and Otter of Furry Victims Unit. Congratulations on your new position at Project Exploration. Now we're going to pay it forward. So, Rob, can you highlight something cool you heard? And then we'll just keep going around.
This gentleman is here for the first time to observe the hive. I'm sorry, Montana. And he's interested in sort of how to hook up with his athletics program and our sort of learning goals at the hive here.
Very cool. Welcome, Montana. Thank you, Rob. Montana, did you hear something cool going on that you want to share?
Well, it was just mentioned, so it was the focus on Kickstarter in the conversation.
All right. Well, do you want to give it a shot?
Understand. Well, I talked to Jeremy, and I was a science educator in charter schools in inner city Chicago, and he talked about the access to computers and software and things like that that's happening at Harold Washington. I thought that was just really neat, since a lot of our kids don't have access to that kind of software, but they love making videos and things like that.
Cool. At the U Media Labs?
Yes.
Nice. And I saw a headline, so I'm going to do this one, that there are 6 UU media sites opening now, so yeah, that's awesome. Go U Media. All over the city, too, on the north, west, and south, right?
Yep.
Very cool.
South, north, west. Yep.
Very cool, very cool. All right, so then we got to restart this then. Would anybody else like to go next? Cool headline that they heard, something cool going on around the city. Nice. Ani, that wasn't you volunteering, was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about the Steppenwolf at the MCA doing the readings. That sounds really cool.
What's that about? Can somebody say more?
Sure. MCA is having Word Weekend, and so they are getting together all different kinds of live lit and spoken word and visual art for the weekend. And Steppenwolf for Young Adults has a play called This is Modern Art about the graffiti bombing outside of the Art Institute of Chicago. And so we are doing a reading of that at the MCA next Sunday at 2:30.
Wow.
In the theater.
That sounds awesome. Cool. Would you mind highlighting something else you heard today?
Well, the things I heard were mentioned in terms of the 6U media. It seems interesting to me that as I was going through here, there's a lot of public library stuff.
Well, we got a whole table here.
Full flow table. I think something that's cool is the Surrealist at the Art Institute. Seems like interesting.
All right, Art Institute, you just got called out. What's up with that, Hillary? That's a surrealist thing.
We're going to put the mini group in next Thursday, the 24th, from 5 to 8 p.m. The museum is free on Thursday nights for Illinois residents, but the retreat special exhibition is ticketed, so you have to pay for a ticket. But if you come on Thursday from 5 to 8 and you bring an object, you can exchange it for a free ticket to the retreat show. So it's a pricing experience. And then those objects are going to be curated by our team council members, and the curator of the exhibition into a pop-up exhibition, which will be up in the museum on August 7th on that Thursday evening.
So which Thursday was it again?
Thursday the 24th is the Surrealist Pricing event.
That sounds awesome. So Thursday the 24th, bring an object, get into the Meet exhibit for free, and Youth Council will curate those in the museum. All right, sounds really cool. Well, there's a lot of great headlines up there. We can't get to them all, unfortunately, so I'm going to pause here and officially kick off our meetup, which means I have to move that camera. Can you help me out, Kyle? And we'll get started. Let's see. Say hi to the world. So we've started webcasting our meetups, which is why we're going through all this trouble. Maybe Smith the other way, so this needs to
Well, then it has to go back to me.
Whatever, I'm not sure. Whatever works. So we started webcasting our meetups as a way for those of us who can't be here today to connect with us and share the love of the Hive. So this is still kind of a work in progress, and we're doing that crazy like mirror thing. Can we get out of this? Nice. All right, cool. So welcome to our meetup, our July meetup, our midsummer meetup, where there's a lot of activity going on around Chicago. But we're excited to have you here, and we have a lot of cool things to go over and a lot of important work to do today. As I mentioned, we've got a number of new faces, more than I think in the last couple of meetups, which is great. People we've kind of come across and made friends with over the last couple of months, who all happen to have time to come this time. So don't be surprised if you meet somebody new, and make sure you give them a warm welcome. Today's agenda is pretty straightforward. We're going to be talking about the Moonshot stuff as we have for weeks, months now. But what we're really going to do is lay out a vision for the way that we're going to take this through to the winter. So we're having a big Hive 5 event in January, and Sam's going to give you a vision for how we get there and how this plays a part. And then we're going to spend some time in those Moonshot groups, making progress, actually really towards August. Just to remind everybody here and say it a couple times, our August meetup is an unmeetup, meaning that I, Sam, and Elsa will not be running it, but you are free to come here and use this space and make it your own. So the space will be available as always from 9 to 1. I think we're still planning to curate it as long as, cater it, as long as people, curation will come up today too, as long as people RSVP. So that's just a reminder, that's a lot of what the work today will be about. And we've got some great share outs and announcements towards the end of the meeting today about a number of youth media projects and some actual programs that are happening in the city today on Google Hangouts. And then we have some usual announcements and housekeeping. That's our agenda. So without further ado, I think Sam's going to kick this off with a primer, a little boot camp on our Moonshot targets and how these targets are going to get us through to Hive 5. So I'll let Sam take the mic.
Yo.
No.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sam.
Thank you for being here. We realize that today is wicked busy in terms of youth programs. This is when people are in the height of their service to youth, and not only do we have you here, but we actually have some young people here as well. So love to you all. Thank you for being here. I want to just say a little bit about, by way of introduction and I guess kind of recentering for all of us, say a little bit to contextualize our work, to talk about where we've been, and as Robert said, to get us on a trajectory toward the Hive is 5-year anniversary celebration for the network that we want to have in January. I make two basic assumptions about the work that we're engaged in. The first assumption is that learning networks like the Hive produce solutions, but that we want those solutions to address our biggest shared challenges. Since the time I arrived, I think people have been really proud about the work that happens in the network, that gets funded out of the network, but that there are still some very persistent shared problems and challenges, unmet opportunities, that those solutions aren't necessarily addressing. So assumption number one is that we want to address those big problems. Assumption number two is that complex problems demand collaboration. They demand collaboration for a couple of reasons. For one, the Complex problems are rich in that it's not often easy to identify the difference between a symptom and a problem, a root cause. Since the time I was teaching physics in the classroom, this was very evident to me. I was quite vividly aware of a lot of symptoms, but not always able to get to root causes. And understanding root causes, core problems, requires some collective insight. That requires collaboration. In addition, once the problem has come into focus and you're clear about what the issue is, oftentimes these problems are too big for any one of us to fix on our own. That also requires collaboration. Complex problems require collaboration. Fundamentally, what we're trying to do here in the Hive and in this Moonshot work that we'll be focusing on today is to amplify our collective intelligence to address the core problems and unmet opportunities that we face when trying to enact connected learning in the city, when trying to make Chicago a place where all learning counts. So where are we and where do we want to go? For one, let's just talk about the status quo. The irony, I think, of the current crisis in education is actually many solutions exist. We've known this. There are many solutions. In fact, one of the reasons that we launched the Hive website, relaunched it with a portfolio section that has some things in it for our current projects, and we'll have more of our past projects in there, is because we want to be able to highlight the solutions that have actually come out of the network already. So having solutions is not necessarily new. But as impactful as these programs are, they don't necessarily help us solve these big shared challenges that we keep bumping into as we do our work. Beyond the status quo is what we call innovation. Innovation isn't just new, although the word innovation often is understood as being new. We're not aspiring to novelty. Innovation is meaningful when it actually helps us solve problems. So for us, we think of innovation as solving problems, not as novelty. The holy grail that we're trying to get to, that this helps build a foundation for, is we're trying to get to a place where not only we have solutions, not only do solutions exist, and not only do the solutions help us address our big shared challenges, but those solutions actually spread and scale, even virally. That's the revolution that we're actually working toward. And this is a part of that work and a part of that revolution. Hive is operating as a platform, not as a set of products. So we offer things, we provide things. That's part of our work, to be a service provider, not just to the network, but to the city. But we're doing more than just providing products. We're creating a platform on which you can build the solutions that help us address the big problems. And it's not only a platform for you to build on, but a platform for the city to build on. And that's part of what Hive 5 is intended to be. So let's briefly just review what the evolving process has been that we've been undertaking. First, the network has mission, vision, and goals. These are aspirations. These are the things that say this is what the city should look like when all learning counts. Our goals are that we have more equitable access to youth beyond those we currently serve, to the opportunities that we all offer and know that they're not partaking of. Secondly, we want to have learning pathways for young people so that learning doesn't stop with the program that kids are most familiar with, but leads to others. Thirdly, we want to spark and sustain innovation. This Moonshot work is part of that. The RFP that's due August 1st is part of that. And fourthly, we want to demonstrate value beyond the network so that the richness of experience that you have is one that the city feels and is made stronger by. So those are our aspirations. The Moonshots are calls to action. They're invitations to collaborate and to contribute to the greatest barriers to enacting connected learning. And what about this RFP that I mentioned? We are trying to establish a culture of problem solving that's not bound to the RFP. The RFP is an important mechanism, but it's not our only mechanism, and there are many others. That said, we want to make sure that the Moonshot work is helping to inform the proposals that go into the RFP so that you, when you're submitting your proposal, can say, and I'm aware that this is a meaningful contribution to the core problems of the network because of the Moonshot work that I can point to. So you ought to be thinking about Moonshot when you're submitting proposals to the RFP. So what are we asking you to do? Primarily, the affinity groups have a responsibility to curate solutions, not primarily to produce them. The work of producing solutions is big, and all of us are engaged in that. What we want the Moonshots to be doing is helping keep our heads up and making sure the many solutions that naturally emerge actually point to and help make progress on our big challenges and unmet opportunities. So the big picture steps there in that work of curation, which Robert referred to, one, we want you to produce exemplary solution ideas. Not fully worked out solutions, but we want you to have proposal-ready, detailed plans for a project, a collaboration that could make real progress toward any one of these moonshots. Exemplar solutions, that's contribution number one. We want you to also produce seed solutions, 3 in fact. A seed solution is a partner-ready seed of an idea that could grow into something that makes tangible contribution toward these moonshots. So it's an invitation again. A moonshot is a call to action. Here's our big problem. A seed solution is a starting place and an invitation. Partners, come join us. We want 1 exemplar solution, 3 seed solutions. Third, it may seem more like an input than an output, but we actually want you to keep adding information to our inventory, our moonshot inventory, because that's the place where we stay informed about the solutions and resources that already exist. So there is a resource form that people have already been putting information into. You can input information into it, and you can gather information from it. We want to keep feeding that. That will help inform us. And finally, we want a narrative from you with the clearest possible articulation of the problem. What are you trying to solve? What are the issues that are persistent and that we can make big progress on? In complex problem spaces like the one we're in, sometimes the biggest contribution you can make to the field is a clear statement of the problem. That actually is progress. And so we feel like we're making progress toward that, and we want to encourage you to continue it. So to wrap up, because I'm about to get pushed off, what are our next steps? We want to help you structure the problem and the process. So Robert is going to talk to you about specific things that you can do, like signing yourself up to participate in a moonshot group, contributing to the resource inventory, making concrete steps forward, inviting other people, making plans to be here in August, for example. So those are some things that we'll help you do today. We want to continue to refine the roadmap of how we get toward, how we continue progress to Hive is 5 and beyond. And I just would like to close by noting this is a journey. It is a journey. We talk about Hive is 5 as if it's a destination. It's a through point. It's a marker on the path. The journey begins with our aspirations and heads to the goals that help those aspirations become real. It starts with the goals and moves toward the challenges and opportunities that emerge whenever you're trying to address your goals. And it goes from challenges and opportunities to solutions that help us make progress on those challenges and opportunities. And again, the revolution is when those solutions lead us to the kind of viral spread of the things that make real progress that these babies we're trying to serve can feel, and that you're empowered by the city is transformed by. So thank you for seriously being here and engaging in this work with us.
Awesome, thank you, Sam. And so just to be really succinct, because Sam said a lot of really eloquent things and gave a bigger picture of sort of like our challenge, our work, or our drive. Succinctly, we're having this event in January, and it's something like, and if you haven't been to one before, you should ask people who have. It's something like a hack day or a hack jam or like a big maker event, where we're going to spend a day or two with each other and our community working on something. So we have to bring the right motivators to that kind of an experience to help people plug in and get something done in a meaningful way. And these pieces that Sam just laid out are ways in which we help people understand our work and find a connection and get engaged. For some people, that's understanding the problem, and for others, it's contributing to something that's already happening. So good curation is providing a space that has both examples of what a good piece of work is in this space, but then also contextualizes the space itself. I think that describes a good exhibit at an art museum, right? I don't know. I'm looking for like affirmation from people who actually do curation. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work over the next couple months to get to this place where we have these pieces. And we've tried to structure the next couple meetups as places to advance these goals, where we can check in and make sure that we're making progress. And we've been structuring the Moonshot group so that there's accountable people who are who've identified themselves as accountable to making sure that we make these progress. And those people are the people who have been leading the groups, and we'll get to them in a minute. So don't feel like 100% of this is everyone in this room's responsibility, but some fraction of it is all of our responsibility. This current meetup, we're talking about these targets, we're laying these out right now, and we're going to start doing some concrete planning for that. In August, again, this space is open. That's an unmeetup. Sammy and Elsa will not be at this microphone talking to you at all. It'll be your space and your time for 3 hours to do what you want, 4 technically. And then September is where we'd like to see some drafts of those pieces, those 3 items, plus entering information into our inventory. So that's 4 tasks, those 3 concrete pieces for the curation, and then that inventory that captures that information. We'd like to see some of that. And one way that we're going to elicit that is by asking you guys to submit a blog post. So some blog post from your group, somebody in the group draft that and have it up on our website. That's one way we're going to see that we've made progress towards this goal. In October, we're going to get a little bit more concrete about those specific items and less surface level like the blog post. And we want to see at least one fully fleshed out drafted item. So at least a drafted set of seed solutions, or a drafted set of problem statements or narratives rather, or a drafted exemplary solution. We'd like to see that in October. What's nice about this is if you have like a really strong exemplary solution here, or some really strong seed solutions, that leaves you ample room for the next RFP cycle, which was released in December. And then in November, we're really going to put that on display. So we're going to ask you guys to come to the November meetup and share out those pieces with each other. It'll be a little bit like the funded project showcase we did at the last meetup, but focused on moonshots this time, which is another great way to seed ideas for the RFP, to pick up some of these seed ideas and to form collaborations around them. Ultimately, we've got to be done by December. So all of those pieces need to be in place for our moonshot groups if we're going to walk into Hive 5 in January and invite our community to really engage in something. So December, to some extent, is the due date for this. Now, we've been a little bit more prescriptive about specific outputs than we have in the past. In the past, we've asked you to just put stuff places and like stay informed. We're being prescriptive to help guide, but not to be overly prescriptive and constrain where you want to do your sharing, how you want to structure your work. So take these as strong recommendations, but not requirements. If you want to start a Tumblr or another social media outlet or create a website around this issue and not just use our blog space as a place to get the message out, then that's cool too. So I just wanted to make that explicit. Okay, great. The last piece of this puzzle is the fact that there is money available for groups to advance their work. A prerequisite of getting funding from us to do small projects around this work, convening meetings, picking up the cost of those meetings for people to get there and to be in that space, whether it's food or transportation. Not wrong, good. And then also potentially to pilot some ideas, buying memberships for Divvy, or we've thrown out some of these examples in the past. We'd be happy to bounce around some other ideas. But those small dollar amounts, you don't have to have all those pieces in place to request them. We just want to know how this money will help advance you towards getting those pieces in place. So make sure you know that that's there, and it's now posted to our website, which I'll get to in a little bit. Okay, so with that being said, I think something cool that has come out of recent conversations in the Ultimate Hub group, which Jen Steele's going to represent right now, has been an idea of streamlining the process that we all face around getting our events visible, both in our network and outside. So if you want to just describe what we've kind of gotten ready for today, you can come up, grab the mic, if you don't mind, so that people in the internets can see you. Okay, awesome.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm representing the Ultimate Hub Moonshot group, which we found is kind of a bit of a hybrid of a lot of the other Moonshot groups, in that we're trying to sort of find ways that make everything that's awesome going on in your programs and around the city accessible, easy to access for any sort of person looking, whether it's students, parents, educators, whatever that may be. So I think this morning's exercise was a great example of that, as sort of a sampling of like, here's all the great stuff that's happening. But as we're trying to share these things out and sort of get that out to the youth and other people who we think could really like benefit from engaging in that, it can sometimes be difficult when we're navigating spaces like the mini group, where finding all of these activities and be able to push them out can sometimes be a challenge. So one thing that we thought would be great is sort of starting with one of these seed solutions as far as having this forum or the space in which we can sort of push all of the programs and events that are happening that could then be seeded through the mini group and the maker party. So essentially having one place where you can put all of your programs and events that then get pushed out to multiple sites. And then there are also conversations for other spaces in which these things can sort of be pushed out to as well. So one thing that we're really going to ask you all to do today is there's a form, I think it's on the website, where you can sort of start plugging in your program. So even just starting with your headlines today, it's actually, the link directly to it. And sort of starting even with, you put up a headline, even starting with that and starting to put that information in, and that way we can sort of have a succinct way of disseminating that information through multiple spaces, which I think would make it a lot easier than trying to sort of post to multiple sites. So we're hoping that that'll be a great starter to finding a way that makes it easy, accessible, and sort of really beneficial to those that we are really trying to reach.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. So yeah, the idea is right now we've definitely got the Maker Party event site and the mini group as places where if you input data on your Hive staff, we'll make sure it gets to those two places because we're ready to go on that. So we've made that guarantee. I was just talking to Keely, I'm calling you out, about finding a way to work this out for Cecil too. So now you put it in one place and it goes to 3. There's a National Summer Learning Association. There's other partners that we're aware of coming online in the next couple of months or in the year that are going to be probably making very similar asks to all of us again. And streamlining that process for our network would be really, really helpful. So take a look at that, throw in the headlines like Jen said. Thank you so much, Jen, for sharing this out. And again, that was the conversation that started in the Moonshot group and then resulted in a quick and dirty solution that can grow or maybe doesn't, but here's an idea. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break them into Moonshot groups as usual. You can get the long story about this moonshot work at that link. That's hivechicago.org/moonshots. That will take you into a bunch of other places. You really want to educate yourself on what we've been doing. If you're up to speed, good. Don't need to go back to that except for one thing, which I'll get to in a second. So you might need to use that site today. So keep it in mind. I'll throw it back up in a minute. That site features important information like this. And what we're going to do today is we're going to really start moving towards preparing ourselves to get these objectives completed. The narrative, the seed solutions, the exemplary solutions, and sourcing information into the resource form. So we're going to use our resource inventory, which you can find on that Moonshot page. It's just a form. It asks you some questions about what your resource is. That's either human or non-human. So it could be like a person who is really good at something that you want to include in this conversation, or it could be a website that features a lot of information that's useful to this conversation. That is where we're going to be sourcing our invites for Hive 5. If you want somebody at Hive 5 because they need to be in this conversation, put it in the resource inventory. We're going to be sending invites from there. There'll be time to do that from here till January, but now's the time to start. Cool. On your tables are going to be, have we handed those out yet? No, those are have we handed out the one pager for green? On your tables is a summary of what Sam and I have been talking about this morning and went long on, as usual. So you can reference that to have a better sense of what the objectives are for today. If you find that there's not the right consensus of people at your table today, that is okay. Don't try to reach consensus today. Divvy up the work, figure out who could help get some of these things done, who was here at the last meetup, who's really excited about this stuff that you should reach out to. This meetup could be about sending emails, setting up meetings, entering stuff in the resource inventory. It doesn't have to be about advancing a conversation if you don't feel like you can right now, because the right people are not here today. There are concrete tasks we can do to make sure that the right people are here at the next meeting, or the right people know what's going on. Send an email to that person who really needs to know what we just said, because they're really excited about this stuff, who can watch it on our live stream or check out our slides, right? So get this information out to the people who need to know it, and let's target August as when we get some of these things really, really done, if we can't today. If you can't today, I'm not stopping you. I'm just suggesting that there's things to do. The way we always do this is we're going to have a Moonshot tables designated for Moonshots. I believe that this is the layout. So we're going to get in our Moonshot groups. You should have at least one person who considers themselves accountable at those groups. I guarantee that you will, because I've spoken to them. So there's at least one person at each group who's going to be the person who can maybe steer this conversation if you're not ready to, or catch you up. So you feel free to get up and move around to these groups. That list may not be updated. It's not. I'm sorry if it's not. Unless Jeremy, you want to jump into the data group, then that's cool. But oh no, I guess this is pretty accurate. The only difference is Jen Steele is going to be David Bill today. It's the only difference. Big difference.
Starting up here at the back.
Oh, sorry. 1B is right here with Melissa and her two young people from Free Spirit Media who have joined us today. So we've got some youth in the room today. Talk about youth council stuff. Break up and woo!
It's all starting. And
Well, only because they're pulling, so I just wanted to, see you. Yes. I believe that. I like the idea. Like broken pieces.
Okay, everybody. We are at time. It is now 9:10 on my watch, or 11:10, I'm sorry. If you haven't gotten to record everything you needed to record, I ask that you do that today, as soon as possible, or we all know it won't get done, because life is busy for us all. So thank you so much for engaging in those conversations. Walking around the room, I could tell there were some really live and rich conversations happening, and I saw a lot of good capture happening too. We'll use that capture to fuel future conversations, and just know that when we enter things into that inventory form, that's where we're going to go back later and use that information to set up Hive 5 by inviting others to participate with us. Sorry, I didn't mean to lean into the mic like that, with us. But also, you'll be able to access that information too. If you need help doing that, if you don't know where to go for things, you can always ask me. I'm usually responsive, except the week before meetups. All right, so we wanted to make some quick announcements. Thank you all for readjusting your attention. We want to make some quick announcements about some exciting stuff that's going on for us. Make it quick. We're going to be about 5 minutes with this. And then we're going to jump into some share apps. We have the Art Institute, and we have CYVN, Chicago Youth Voices Network, and we have a lot of cool organizations today. We're going to share out some upcoming activities, events, and programs. So first of all, really excited to announce, because it was a lot of work, that there is a new hivechicago.org website. And aside from just new, it actually has new features, which it's never had before. I think we have a handout. Kyle, can you help distribute that one, because I forgot to? Thank you. That summarizes these different platforms. So when I'm done talking about them, take a look at the handout, take it home, and use it to navigate these spaces. For those of you who are joining online, we'll make that available on the blog post that connected you to this webcast. So we have our website. It's got a blog, which is great. That's something that we want to make available for all members of our community. We have a portfolio page that collects our projects. That's another resource for members of our community, whether you've been a funded project or not. If you want to share your work on our website, those are two ways to do it. One lives on with some permanence, and that's the portfolio. The other great feature you'll find on our website is a listing of members in the member section with a map that shows you where all those members are located, which is kind of cool. Moonshot stuff, and you'll really be going to our website and our blog from now on to go in depth about things. Minigroup is where we might post events or do quick feedback, or where you guys can really talk to each other. We're going to do our big information stuff on our website, and we'll make that clear as we go on. The other place that I'd like to announce is also a new HiveLearningNetworks.org website. Yeah! Because sorry, I'm just trying to wake you all up. That is a big deal. That unites all the hives around the globe into a single hub. It's surprising, to me even, considering I hear about it often, how many hives there are. Chicago is one of the exemplary hives, one of the early networks, but it is not the only one. It's a growing community, and there are emergent networks in other places in the U.S., like the Bay Area around San Francisco, but also in India or Berlin. I know not all those are cities. Berlin's a country, right? No, Berlin's a city. India's a country. And then the last piece is a kind of cool new platform that goes sort of in conjunction with the Hive Learning Network site, and that is this cool discourse page where you can actually connect with Hive members around the world, staff and members, to share work and have conversations. If you really want to see what learning is like in other cities, and it is different, you should check it out. It's a cool place to ask some questions. That's just new. It might be a little quiet. You're the people to get it going. Mr. Dyson in the back.
If you refresh that page, you can just corrected the URL for the networks. It's Hive Learning Networks.
Of course I did that wrong. I'm not going to refresh this page because the slides exist online, and it'll just ruin, other things will happen once I start doing that. But that's right. There should be an S at the end of network. It's networks. and it's correct on your handout. And I believe that does redirect to the network site, so it's okay. But nevertheless, that is a faux pas. The other really big thing I'm excited to announce is the fact that we have a Hive badge for individuals, for professionals. Yeah, that's cool. Give me love, come on. That's a lot of work too. No, this is actually a really cool badge that's available to adult practitioners. It's available to anyone really who thinks they earned the badge through the criteria. It's not quite public. I'm kind of breaking a couple of rules by saying this on the internet right now. Not just to you, because the official launch date's on Monday, but the badge is active. A couple members of the community have already earned it. Most of you who are watching, reading this online, and listening right now will likely receive the badge without doing anything, because we know you earned it and we know who you are. We know our community, and this is about tightening up our community. However, we might miss you because we don't have your info in our system, we don't have your email address, because you've been coming, but we haven't had a conversation, and we didn't realize you were in the room, and I'm sorry if we did miss you. You can apply for it, though, and that's a pretty easy process. Go to the website down here on the bottom. Last word I'm going to say about that is it's connected to WebMaker intentionally, and I'm running late, and I'm giving Elsa no time. So I'm bad. Yeah, but okay, just connected to WebMaker because that community has a lot of overlap with ours, which hopefully will become apparent in the future. Done. All right, this is exciting too, Elsa.
Cool. I think we were both supposed to have 5 minutes
Yeah,
together. So anyway, so several of you may have seen this Maker Party logo. You can take stickers when you're out there. You've been to Maker Parties. We wanted to announce that on July 15th, which was Tuesday, I believe, the Global Maker Party campaign launched. And to break that down simply, it's a celebration of all making and learning and teaching taking across the globe, as many as can be recorded and celebrated over the course of the next few weeks. So, Maker Party Global, what that relates to you. You are all doing making, learning, and teaching at various degrees, and we want to make sure to recognize the amazing things you're doing and be able to say, this is these organizations, and this is Hive Chicago globally, and this is what we're doing. So, 2 things. Events, programs, anything that you deem making, learning, teaching. It's a pretty loose definition. That can be part of Maker Party, can be recognized as such. So on this global platform, we would love to have you represented if you're doing any of these things. And it's a pretty easy sign-up process. You have 2 options if you want to get your stuff out there. One, directly onto the Maker Party platform, or you can do our bulk upload, which is the thing that Jen shared about getting your events and programs out to several things. Put it in there. We'll make sure it goes up here. We'll make sure it goes on Minigroup. Later down the line, we'll make sure it goes to other places like Cecil and things of that nature. So you can cross that off your checklist if you do it that way. So, Maker Party. Woo! Okay. Yeah! Maker Party! There's a bit.ly. Maker Party 14. It's pretty easy. Check it out. Maker Party. Oh, yeah. Oops. Maker Party. Might have been me, Robert? I don't know. One of us. Cool. So, speaking of Maker Party, there's an upcoming one to celebrate Cecil programs over the summer and showcase what amazing youth, probably maybe some of you amazing youth in the room today, will be working on this summer. So you will have likely received an email at this point in time from us. We have an awesome showcase coordinator who's sending those out, so if you see an email from someone named Larissa Hive at Gmail, that is her. Don't, it's not some rando Hive-related person that you don't know. That already happened, but what you need to know is Thursday, August 14th. Ways to participate are, if you do performance or performance-type things, we'd love to have those showcased. If you have work that's being done that can be displayed in a gallery-like way, love to showcase that as well. Or you want to make and teach and learn with the public at the Maker Party. And the final way is come out and bring youth and get the word out. So those are the ways to participate. Hive Buzz. Awesome. All right. So now we will be #Hive Buzz, hearing from some folks who are doing great things this summer who reached out and want to share. Starting with the Art Institute. Yay!
Well, it's kind of dark. Do you want to go straight to the story? Fine?
Oh, no, I'll introduce it first.
You should be able to just click that when you're ready.
Cool. Hi, my name is Maura Flood. I work with the Teen Council at the Art Institute. So we just wanted to share out about an event we had on June 13th, Friday the 13th. It was a big party at the Art Institute called Exuberous. This is a carnival-themed party. It was visioned, designed, marketed for, and then eventually hosted by our Teen Council. It was a huge opportunity. So this was an event we had never done before. We'd never done a teen night. We'd never done basically just a big party at the Art Institute in the trading room. We didn't know what to expect. We were thinking we'd get 200 teens. We thought 300 was really gonna be amazing. We ended up getting over 500. So it was really cool, really surprising, a lot of crazy, it was a very crazy, interesting evening. But I just wanted to turn it over to two of our Teen Council members who could kind of show you some and tell you a little bit more about it. And then can you just scroll down?
Yeah, I think so. That's it.
So this is our Storify, so we thought we'd just show pictures. Oh yeah. Maybe if we could scroll.
You guys can grab the mic if you want to get up on.
Okay. Krista Wetzel, and I'm on the Teen Council at the Art Institute. And well, basically, we were really super excited to see 500 people come in, and we were only expecting 300. So one of the big things, we ran out of food, but it's okay. It's okay. It was a lot of fun, and just, I don't know, basically, I guess what contributed to the success was, I guess, our excitement and just getting the word out there. And we had so many posters and flyers, and every week, every time we met, we'd come out back with a stack of flyers just to send back out to the people. We sent it to our friends, our schools, had some at libraries, and just other programs that we met up with. And I guess one of the big things was also social media. So every time we posted on the Art Institute Teens page, the Teen Council members themselves would then repost it on their personal page, and then that also reached out to our own friends as well as those who follow the page.
Hi, my name is Deja, and I'm also on the Teen Council. And so if you're wondering why throw a party in the Teen Council or in the Art Institute, where for us it was a really great way to show teens that the Art Institute isn't just for adults, there's stuff here for you, and we hope in the future to have more. But during the event we had U-Media, Yoakali, and Intuit there, and we had different activities. We had a fortune teller, which we had pictures, a green screen. There were tours of part of the galleries that Teen Council members gave. It was just a really great way to show teenagers that there's stuff here in the Art Institute also for you. We got great feedback. My sister went and she was like, I love it. She was enjoying the Teen Council. So it was just a really great way to get teens interacting. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say that we've had a lot of questions about the event, and we've been talking with some other organizations about maybe doing a deep dive or some other kind of workshop around teen events, because I know there are a lot of ideas percolating and lots of organizations that already do these kinds of activities. So if we can share out that information anyway, I think we're going to try and think about how we're going to do that in the best way for everybody. So thanks very much, and thanks for your support. We came and talked about this a couple of meetups ago, and I really appreciate all of the marketing efforts that you may have done with your youth to get 500 kids out of the museum. Thanks.
Awesome. So obviously that was a great success with our institute, and I think like Hillary said, so many of you guys are working on similar kinds of events for young people. Obviously Hive Chicago is through showcases and maker parties, and many of us struggle to get that kind of turnout. And so I think thinking through the strategies that they may have employed or that we could better employ to do that, and I think Hive leadership could hear that too. Ways that we could better inform these events that happen in our network. So thank you so much, the Art Institute, and I wanted to next introduce Dawn Graham from Chicago Youth Voices Network, and she's going to talk a little bit about a really awesome new platform they're working on. I'll let you say more. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi everyone, so I'm Dawn Graham, the project manager for Enough Said, which is an initiative of Chicago Youth Voices Network. And today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about the big idea of Enough Said, what this actually looks like, what we've done so far, what it means for organizations, what you can do, and how to stay connected.
So Enough Said 2.0 engages youth in an iterative participatory design process to create a safe, active, and sustainable online platform for young people in Chicago, youth media organizations, and our allies to produce, share, and discuss information around self-defined identities, interests, and issues, and effectively mobilize interest-based networks for community dialogue and social action. So that's the big idea, and that's a lot, right? So what does this actually look like? The online platform has three main components, and that's a public journal of youth-produced media, including articles, film, audio pieces, visual art, and other creative works, a resource directory including information about organizations and programs, job opportunities, internships, events, and toolkits, and a social network where youth across the city can connect to each other and mentors and others based on their interests. Ultimately, these three components will be able to link to each other so that if someone's looking at a piece, like a media piece about a certain issue, they can also find resources connected to that issue as well. So the idea is to have all of these three pieces actually working together in sync so that we're sharing information across them. Both the online and offline structure of the project is really meant to support learning and career pathways based on young people's interests. So both what's happening on the site is meant to help build out these different spaces, and what's actually happening offline, behind the scenes, is meant to do the same. So we started this process a year and a half ago. It's been a really deep and vigorous process, and to build something for youth that has resonance that they actually want to use, we knew that we had to involve young people and have them deeply involved, and they have been really deeply involved in all parts of the process the whole way through. So this started with a discovery phase that included focus group discussions and a survey to develop a better understanding of the needs, online engagement, and issues important to young people in Chicago now. Through this, we were able to identify our problems, goals, audience analysis, and key site features for the site. From there, we were able to have a Youth Digital Leadership Lab last summer, which was a series of workshops where youth could work with a professional design team to create digital assets that would inform the site development and design. So they did a lot of work doing this. It included developing user personas, case scenarios, storyboards, site maps, page goals, wireframes, mood boards, working on site design, as well as identifying the site culture and values that they wanted the space to represent. And they also had discussions about what mentorship could look like in an online space like this. So there was a lot that was going on there during those summer sessions. And another part that they did during the Youth Digital Leadership Lab was to actually to create youth-defined job descriptions that would inform what else needed to happen to make the site go, to make the project go and continue forward. So they created their own job descriptions, and that was implemented in the Youth Editorial Board. So within the Youth Editorial Board, they have a number of different roles that they all carry out and do. Also called the YEB, that's how we shorten it. The group is young people representing different organizations from across the city with a variety of different media backgrounds and experiences. And so they've been working together since last fall to create aspects of the project such as project mission, vision, values, and goals, content organization and categorization, publication criteria, the Enough Said engagement pyramid, project branding, user testing, social media and outreach strategies, use case scenarios, and more. They've been doing all of this work to really make this a robust project and robust platform that really works for people. Part of the thing to know about the Youth Editorial Board is that it is open for youth coming from different organizations. We do offer stipends or service learning hours and do provide transportation reimbursement. Okay, yeah. And so last spring, the Youth Editorial Board also developed a participation plan to help organizations and individuals identify ways to be connected to the project and engage with it that actually made sense for them, that could be kind of custom fit and tailored to what's already going on. So the participation plan offers a variety of suggestions that are based on the idea of how Enough Said can really support the work that you're already doing and help increase the visibility of your programs to new audiences, to new youth across the city, while enabling young people to discover those opportunities and discover information about those resources, projects, and organizations in a really organic way based on their own interests. So what we're going to be doing from here on out is more iterations of the site testing and development with the aim to publicly launch it at the end of the year. Before then, there are lots of ways that you can actually get involved now. Part of that is participating in the advisory team with the youth editorial board. It's a really great space to know what's going on with the project, to be connected in, and to be working with the youth editorial board. So it's usually a lot of fun. You can also volunteer as a mentor to the YEB and come in during other meetings more to help support them in that space, and participate in testing and provide feedback on the site itself. The other thing that you can do is they're starting right now, they're working on doing gathering content and resources and stuff like that. And so you can actually start submitting resources and youth-produced content to the editorial board members so they can start filling in some of those things on the site. And they've been having so much fun getting to see everything that people have been making and doing out there and going through it. And we have to sometimes kind of reel them back in and be like, okay, and you have to actually post this now and do something with it. You can't just watch it all the time. So it's been a lot of fun. The other thing that you can do is participate in their current outreach campaign. So they just developed their social media channels just recently. Like they got this started last week. And they wanted to start doing outreach to people to get people connected to the project and engaged in conversations in these other social media channels while the site's still being built out, so we can start building those connections until the site goes live. So the first question that they wanted to ask people was, what's your passion? And they've been sharing their own passions. They want to hear what other people's passions are, youth across the city, as well as adult allies and other people. So for you, if you want to answer the question of what's your passion, whether it's as a youth or as an adult ally or advocate for youth, please do share your answer via Instagram or Tumblr or Twitter. Any of those spaces. They'll be super excited if you do that now for the next meeting. They can go and see all the new things that have been showing up. That would be awesome. And so you can share that. What's your passion? Don't spell it correctly. It's YR. So what's your passion? That's at HQ. The other way to stay connected, so you can go to this bit.ly, Hive Enough Said. It's a follow-up so that you can sign up to receive updates and more information, including additional information about how to be connected in some of those ways I already described, such as coming to advisory board meetings or participating in testing the site and stuff like that. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these other social media channels. It's all the same, Nuff Said HQ across the board. So if you search for that, you should be able to find us and get connected in and see some of the stuff that the Youth Editorial Board are sharing out there as well. Are there any, so the other thing is you can talk to me, you can talk to Manoir or Mindy, they're both in the room, and ask us any other questions or just any other ways that you want to connect. And is there any key points I missed, Manoir or Mindy? Good? Okay, cool. Yeah, so feel free to talk to us after. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you all more.
Thanks, Don. Just trying to, what's your passion? Right?
Yeah.
Cool. And what was that at?
At Nuff Said HQ.
Nuff
Right
Said HQ.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll spell check that in a second. Cool. So that's really exciting. That project's really obviously so broad ranging that I thought it would be important for us all to hear about it and potentially find our ways to contribute. But it's not, there's so many different projects like this collecting youth media and showcasing youth voice in Chicago. I think it's also good to have a perspective on the other platforms that can feed into this effort, but are also maybe have a little bit of their own flavor, which is an intended pun. So I wanted Manoir to talk a little bit about their project at street level for about 2 minutes and just share out.
2 minutes. Yeah. All right. So mildsauce.org. So street level youth media. For a long time, we featured our youth media on Street Level's website, and lo and behold, young people told us it was kind of lame. It was very adult-driven. They didn't like how we were featuring their media, and so we thought, okay, cool. We will help you create your own site. So that's what we have done. We have created a media distribution site called Mouth Sauce with Young People. Mountsauce.org, it's in a beta version now. So when you go to that, you'll see like their first version of that. This summer, they're developing a newer version. You'll see the screenshot of that. But basically, it's the site where street-level youth are featuring their original content. In addition to that, because we are interested in promoting news and media literacy, we know that our young people do not necessarily go to CNN to get their news. They may not see news that are important to them, things that are happening in their community at different websites. So what we want our young people to do is aggregate the news stories that are meaningful to them and help us collect that and share that with other youth. We also want to continue to connect them to other media professionals and journalists. So we have an active group of mentors that work with them in the development of this site. And mountsauce.org, while it conjures up images of chicken wings, it has nothing to do with chicken wings. But it is a Chicago thing, is what I've learned. So feature stories, oh, that is hot. If you have something that's hot, we want to know about it. So our youth journalists will be coming out to research more of the hot stories in Chicago and hopefully get you on mountsauce.org. Coming to you soon by the end of the summer.
Cool. And in addition to the different kinds of platforms that aggregate and collect some of these stories and share them out publicly, I thought it'd be great to also feature an awesome story. So I heard about this from Nathan. I wanted her to take a second to tell us about this work that students did at True Star.
We'll take Street Level. Good morning, afternoon, morning, everyone. I'm Natay with True Star, and I'm just going to talk briefly about a fundraiser that we have coming up on Thursday, July the 31st at the Tribune Towers. We have a partnership with the MASH, which is the Tribune's teen newspaper, and we did a partnership with them to do a documentary, and they used about 6 of our students. I'm looking at Deanna, the co-founder of True Star, as I look for anything that I'm leaving out, but about 6 of our young people, they featured them in the documentary, and these young people unfortunately lost friends to gun violence. So the name of the documentary is Lost Friends, and we're going to be doing a screening, and we are welcoming anyone who's interested in learning more about the organization and learning more about the initiative that we did with the MASH and the Tribune. And we actually have a couple of students who are in the documentary who's joining our Moonshot Youth Council. So yeah, connecting all of the dots. But yeah, that's what the documentary is about. And we're going to have the young people at the event to actually talk about their experience losing friends and family to gun violence. Did I leave anything out, Deanna? We're good? Okay.
And I'll be really excited to see that, but also a very difficult subject. But I think that was a powerful story to share with you all today in connection to these other media opportunities that we've been talking about. So just to cue up the next step, we have a young person who's going to come and share who's not available today, and also will fill in a little bit. She wasn't able to make it in the end. We also have a guest joining us by Hangout, which should be kind of crazy, and has been a little bit of a tech juggle. So fingers crossed that that'll work out. But Elsa's going to cue that up, and we'll probably be bouncing back and forth to make like things appear on screens. So Elsa, why don't you kick it off?
Cool. Hi everybody, back again. So just wanted to follow up on what was various emails and mini group posts to get Burberry Create the pilot in Chicago going. So pretty in its essence, it's the Burberry Foundation's curriculum to teach design thinking and design process, which is really just researching a subject and solving to it, but in this sense, creating something around it. So for this pilot, the output is a video, and I'm really excited to see those come out. There will be a sharing out of all those to figure out what top video there is across organizations, and an experience with a lot of Burberry folks for that winning team. So design process, explore, uncover, imagine, create with their wording. And the folks who are involved, just FYI, if people are interested, want to connect with them, hear more about it, Youth Muse and Intuit together, I believe they are called Into Teams, as a collective, LCDC, the Steam Studio Bootcamp Week, Youth Media, Convergence, and Street Level. So Youth Muse and Intuit and LCDC happened last week, so we're actually going to get to see one of the videos that that group sent over, see what a video produced in a few short days looks like. And yeah, so that's the Burberry Create project. Really, design process was a lot of you work on through this week. So what's the next slide here? So we were going to have Deja from Intuit Teens join us. She cannot, but Youth Muse and Intuit and LCDC completed this last week, and they have a few things to share. So I want to share this acceptance video with you. Technology, work for me. Why is it so dark? Okay. Is the sound?
Every second we are being judged and how we look and act, but how can we embrace ourselves? What is something you wanted to embrace about yourself? How about your personality trait?
That's a pretty tough question to ask.
My smile. Okay. I don't like it when I was young. I love my hair. Okay. Your uniqueness is what makes you, you.
Cool. So that was produced and shot probably and edited in about 3 days by the teens on iPads and iMovie just to see what they can do with it. And I forgot to mention the experience is to respond to a challenge, and the challenge of these weeks is create for good. What's creativity can you have for good? And teens came up with slogans to respond to that, and obviously theirs was embrace yourself as creating for good. So that's that video. And I think we're gonna try. I don't know. Get you back. Okay.
I'll get you there.
We're gonna try to hang out with some Steam Studio teens who are this week doing the same thing, and they're creating around jazz and trying to figure out how jazz is made more relevant to this generation, or what they can come up with to kind of revitalize jazz as seen by teens.
All right. Hopefully they'll know.
That's them. Right now they are doing a styling challenge to see what they can make feel jazz stylish. They're at a boutique called Sir Madam.
Can you hear us?
Oh,
Something's happening.
That's Brother Mike now.
You're muted, but you're good to go.
Revolution!
Point the camera this way.
They're at Sir Madam Boutique, and the challenge is to style either a man's or women's fashion as they would remix a jazz style.
We can kind of hear you.
Cool. So hopefully we're not too loud. Hey, Autumn, can you turn it down just a little bit for 1 second? We got the music popping in here. That's what we're doing. So first off, we're so happy to be plugging in this way to the Hive Meetup. We've, as Elsa probably mentioned, we've had about 20 young people working on style challenges around this idea or concept of how do we reimagine jazz in the 21st century. We're working, our client is the Kennedy Center, and Jason Moran, who's a Blue Note recording artist. And this week we've been kind of working through what we call the Steam Studio Boot Camp, and that's been kind of powered by Burberry Create. And along this journey, young people have been learning about the 5-step design process, but also really doing deep and engaged research around jazz and its culture, its tradition, and then how they can push that into the future. Today we're live at Sir Madam, and we've got Autumn Merritt right there. She's one of the owners. And then we'll just take a brief pan around the store. Kids right now are doing styling challenges based on a few different characters. So one, we're styling an evening wear inspired by Billie Holiday. Another one that's more contemporary around Esperanza Spalding. And then we're doing some really cool stuff looking at Monk and the whole hipster thing. So they're designing around those themes this afternoon. I'm going to pull one of our students over so she can tell you a little bit about the week. And if you guys have any quick questions, you can ask her. Hold on.
Hello. So I'm really happy. Sorry. So I'm a student, part of a STEAM studio, and I've really been enjoying the experience. I've been learning so much here. We worked with Adobe Illustrator a little bit yesterday, and the day before that, I got a chance to work with 123 Design, which allows you to make jewelry, 3D jewelry. I kind of struggled with that a little bit, but you know, I hear it's quite a learning curve. But other than that, I've really been enjoying STEAM Studio. I think the skills I'm learning here are helping me in the future as far as maybe having a career in graphic design or jewelry making, and even today, like having the style challenge. Everything we're learning is very transferable and applicable to everyday life and just fashion and all the things that interest the youth and me in particular. So I'm just really enjoying it, and I'm glad that they have these type of opportunities for students like me. Did you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I think we could try for one. Does anybody have like a question? Say it loud.
We're muted still.
I don't think so. Can you hear us?
Not really. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right. So we need to like. I think the mic is here. If someone has a loud question, they could say a loud question. Okay. Okay. Questions are tough. So we have one.
I can hear you. Okay.
What's been like your absolute favorite highlight so far? Like if you could do something all day, every day, which would you pick that you've done?
I think just one.
You can tell us more than one.
I think, okay, I have two. I think I really enjoy taking pictures. I've never like taken pictures with a professional camera before, just with my camera phone, but it's just a huge difference being able to take a quality photo of just the different things you see, like, and I think like it helps with like storytelling. It's a great way to tell stories as far as having your own vision of how you see something, and that could be of a bouquet of flowers or a sign that you see or graffiti on a mailbox or anything like that. So I think it's kind of just opening my eyes to the world around me, and that's why I've really been enjoying taking photos with a professional camera. And the second thing I've really been enjoying, I would say Illustrator. As a painter, I don't really work on the technical side, but I think being able to transfer my designs and like the things I paint to a more digital scene is just really cool, because I never really thought I would be able to do that before. But I've really been enjoying that as well. So I'm looking forward to next week, where we have our like design challenges and things like that, because then I'll be able to really like put my skill to the test and see how good I really am at design.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much, Gage. Sorry, we didn't catch your name. There's another Gage.
Thank you, everybody. That's it.
We good, man. That was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I think we're going to move on to our next speaker, but that was really cool. This was really good. Cool. Awesome. All right. So our next speaker is Jen, who is magically here. So this is totally working. Jen is with the crisis text line, and I'll let you describe it. Do you want me to queue up slides for you, or are you going to screen share?
I think I can do it. We'll see.
Cool. You be in control. I'm going to move you over to the audience, and you can get cracking.
Awesome. Wow, my head looks so big when I look at the screen from here. Great. So, hi, everyone. I'm the executive director at Crisis Text Line. We were born out of the not-for-profit called DoSomething.org. Can you raise your hand if you've heard of Do Something before? Okay, awesome. So it sounds like most of you have heard of them. They're at this point the largest, the nation's largest organization connecting young people with volunteerism opportunities. And a few years ago, they realized that text message had become the #1 way to communicate with young people. whenever they send a text blast out, it has a 97% open rate. So pretty much when they're messaging with their over 2 million members across the country, they realize text message was really the way to go. But something unexpected started happening every time they would send these messages out about volunteerism, which was that young people started reaching back to do something, asking for help. So teens would text them saying things like, I don't want to go to school tomorrow because I'm afraid I'm going to get bullied again, or I'm cutting, how can I really stop this urge? And about 3 years ago, they got the worst text that they've ever received, where a young girl texted in saying, he won't stop raping me, it's my dad, are you there? So it was really that moment that the team at DoSomething.org realized that even though as an organization they're not the ones to handle those kinds of issues, there's clearly a gap in the space. There's great service providers out there, like how come they're not able to reach young people who need support? And so we created Crisis Text Line to really address that. And let me see if I can successfully flip to my screen over here. Can you see my slides?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great. So what Crisis Text Line does, as the name implies, we are a support line for young people that all happens over a text message. And basically, we provide crisis intervention services. So the great thing is that there's already best practices out there for effective counseling. And it's been happening for years in person and over the phone. And so what we've done is basically created a new technology that enables organizations who've done this work for years to now access young people who otherwise wouldn't be willing to reach out for help because they're not even calling their friends, let alone a crisis hotline. And so Crisis Text Line is a 24/7 support line for young people no matter what issues that they face. We launched just in August, and we've already exchanged 2.5 million text messages with young people. So I think it's really clear, just in this beta launch year, that the demand is huge. And we're really fortunate to get the support of the MacArthur Foundation to launch in Chicago, and then we expanded our marketing efforts to El Paso. We have about 200 counselors right now, and we've already done over 300 rescues, which is when our counselors actually need to contact emergency services because a youth is at imminent risk of dying by suicide. So while we're excited that the service has been really helpful, it's also really sad just to see so much need is out there that's not currently being addressed. You can see on this slide the types of issues that we work with young people on. It's really the whole gamut. We want to make sure that a young person, and we broadly define that from ages 13 to 25, but no matter what issues they face, sometimes young people get a long list of resources they could tap into, 20 phone numbers. And when really, in their lives, their issues are all intertwined. When someone is experiencing relationship abuse and they're feeling depressed, all of these things to them, is really about, what they're feeling and how they're experiencing it. And so rather than have them need to self-identify and to sort of self-diagnose, we say, okay, here's one number that's as simple to remember as 911, and this is how you can get help. Why text message? So this is actually, I'll go over this quickly because I think since all of you are experts in working with youth, you probably just see the young people you support every day.
Hey, Jen. I got a question from the audience. If you would try to go into presentation mode because your slides are kind of small.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a great point.
A little bigger. Sorry for interrupting you.
This is great. Is this better?
It's slow to respond, so it might take a second or two before we see it. But right now it's still the old screen.
It's possible she might have to share a different screen.
Yeah,
effectively.
that's true. It's complicated, so it might not be worth the effort. We'll figure it out in the future and make sure you have.
You know what? The slides aren't. We can email out the slides. They're not that important.
Oh, they're on our website actually, so we're good.
Oh, awesome. Great. So, why text? a few big things. One is, as I already mentioned, we reach young people that we otherwise wouldn't be able to access. Teens are obsessed with text message, and it actually over-indexes, so it's actually more prevalent among minority teens. So in terms of young people who either don't have access to services or are particularly underserved, we think it's a great way that's easy for young people to do. The second thing is it's private and it's mobile. So teens have been texting us from bathroom stalls, from walking on the street, at school when they're getting bullied. And they're actually able to reach us no matter where they are and have that support with them. The third reason is we can actually follow up with them. So every young person that we're in contact with, in person it's hard to get them to follow up, to keep showing up. But with SMS, we actually have an ongoing line of communication with them. So we can keep keeping track of them and making sure that they're okay. And then lastly, we're really excited about the data that we're actually able to collect. We think that one of the value adds that Crisis Text Line brings is we're actually able to share back with practitioners, with policymakers, on a real-time basis, what are young people experiencing? And given the size of our database, given we've already exchanged 2.5 million messages with young people, we're really at the scale that we think we can show significant trends. Let me I know we're running a little low on time. I'll speak a bit to how it works, just in terms of the logistics. Once a teen texts us, so 741-741 is our short code, they enter our national queue. And so our counselors are actually sitting both in offices where crisis centers are based, as well as from home. So we have a remote program. And they open up their computers. And what it looks like is basically what looks like a GChat window. So just a chat window opens up on their computer screens. They're actually able to chat with multiple young people at the same time. So to the young person, it looks like entirely a normal SMS message exchange, but for the counselors, it actually is in a software system that we've developed. The core of the exchange, though, is really a one-to-one human interaction. So while we're able to do, very quick automated messages, so they know things like, we've received your message, those kinds of things, the core of the intervention is having a real person with you who is non-judgmental, empathetic, and trained to give you the support that you need. We've gotten some really amazing feedback from young people. So let me just flip over here. Who've told us that we're really the first people they've told about the issue that they're facing in their life. So they've said things like, I finally had someone who cared. She listened to me when no one else would. And so our primary limiting factor right now is, as we're trying to grow, as we're trying to reach more youth, how do we expand our counseling capacity? And so from a partnership opportunity, and this is where I'd love to follow up with any of you who are potentially interested, is that we think that young people can actually be amazing counselors. And what we've already done working with one of our partners is to take counselor training, which depending on the level of counselor can span from 15 to 35 hours. And we've brought it online. So we're using best practices from online learning, from Khan Academy, Coursera, etc. And we're basically taking the counseling training and putting it through a channel that enables young people, wherever they are, to access them. So the first point is, we're really interested in working with youth-serving organizations that want to find an innovative service delivering opportunity for young people. So basically, we have the content expertise, the training, and the tech and infrastructure, and we'd love to work with youth organizations that have access to young people who want to volunteer and want to find a meaningful way to do so, and to set up a peer counseling opportunity. The second thing that we're really interested in, I know that folks in the room are the experts are on, is can we actually develop some sort of digital badge program? So the counseling skill set we think is really significant and is both helpful as a counselor, but also more broadly professionally and personally. And so we'd love to think about what would it mean to develop some sort of digital badge program for counseling skills like active listening, as well as the content that we teach people on. So knowledge on bullying, on eating disorders, and those types of issues. And the third thing that we'd love to do is we are, again, amassing all this great data on, what are the issues that young people face. But we want to make sure that we're doing it and we're packaging it in a way that's really useful to local policymakers, practitioners, school districts, basically anyone who's trying to serve youth through intervention or prevention strategies. And so would love to work with a local group who could work with us to understand, okay, how do we collect and use this data to really benefit Chicago youth? I don't know if I have any time for any questions.
Well, let's do one question. Just if anyone's got a burning question that they want to ask or comment they want to make, and then we'll say thank you and goodbye to Jen. But does anybody got a burning? Yeah, go for it.
If you were to do the counselor training for, I guess, young people, how would you go about finding people that would be good to actually train to be counselors and be part of the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our online training actually connects people similar to this, just a different software platform, where our trainers are based in crisis centers, so in Boston and Detroit, for example. And so we work with youth serving organizations that have young people, often who meet up together. So you could have a group of kids in Chicago who are going through the training together, and they all have their laptops open and see a trainer in the same way that you're seeing me. So those are how they do practice sessions. There's also 25 independent modules that they do themselves. And so it's sort of like watching a Khan Academy video with assessment questions. And then in addition to that, they do live observation sessions with experienced counselors. So they would actually log in as a trainee to the platform and be able to see real time a counseling conversation, ask debrief questions. And then we also have one-on-one role plays and evaluations before folks start staffing the line, just to make sure that everyone is completely prepared before they go in. And then once they join, they also have a live supervisor who's there observing their work and giving them feedback and comments. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes, thank you.
All right, well, I kind of jumped the gun there. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for joining us. I really appreciate your time, and this is a great program. Thanks for joining us again. We'll be sure to connect with you and keep your information available to everybody. Oh, I said goodbye too soon.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Good seeing you. Yeah. Thanks, Jen. So I'm sorry for rushing a little bit. We are more or less done. I have just the usual closing sort of stuff to get with you, to get to you rather. And all of those slides that you saw today are now on our website. There's a blog post about today's meetup. All of the webcasts and the slides and everything can be found there. We'll try to follow up with contact information too as needed. One of the things I think I wanted to point out about the crisis text line specifically is the way it evolved from an issue that an organization had and was common amongst organizations into a potential program or service that was carried by other people through to the end to create a resultant service to young people that has been really, really effective. The other thing to point out about it is that it is a resource to us, and it's the kind of thing that might belong in the resource inventory. It's the kind of thing we want to capture and make sure is available to others in the future. So if you think this relates to your Moonshot group, or to whatever, please get it in there. Closing comments. We'd like to welcome you to our new space. So at the end of August, look for an event at our space, August 28th, a happy hour, just to hang out, 18th South Michigan. If you want to stop by anytime before then, we're just there. So come by, it's fun. It's a nice spot, good view. The RFP is due at the end of this month. For those of you who do not know, there is an open request for proposals available now, accepting proposals due August 1. If you haven't connected with us yet about an idea that you have or proposal you're preparing, please do that as soon as possible so that we can just make sure we're ready for you and ready to communicate your vision as needed. And then the last bit is that we'll be reopening the application process for new members in the fall. That probably will be released in late August. And that is a guarantee, a promise, I swear we are going to do it. We punted on spring because we had more work to do, but this is the right time to start it again. So we're going to do it again, and that is also the time I'm going to deliver on my promise for a mini group seminar, whatever, webcast, webinar, training thing. So I will show you how to use Minigroup then too, and I promise. Okay, it's summer, let's get outside. So the last thing I'm gonna ask you before you do go is to please do our feedback form. You can be quick about it, you don't have to leave an essay, just quick comments and feedback is very helpful. Go to that link to do it. Jen Steele's form, one of the things we forgot to say about it is that one of the great issues we're trying to solve for the Hive is making our work visible to us, like making everything we do visible. So putting the events and programs that you're doing into that sheet will eventually result in our increased visibility to ourselves as well. One example of how that works for us in a very quick, low budget ways is the new members section of our website, which has a map of all of our members and locations. That's the kind of thing we can produce without a lot of effort, but we need the data to do. So please think about putting the events and programs that you highlighted here on the walls into that sheet. We can't guess that these things are happening, and we'd love to know that they are. So please help us out with that. All right, feedback form. Sam, closing thought.
No, it's a
correction.
It's just a comment about Hive is 5. Just mark your calendars. At the last meetup, I took a quick informal poll asking people if Hive is 5 were on one of these 4 dates, which would you like? People asked for or seemed to express desire for December, and we have selected a date in January, and we just want to tell you why. January. So our thought is that part of Hive is 5 is really about engaging people in work that launches into the future, and doing that in the new year kind of goes with the sort of spirit and motivation and drive of the new year, as opposed to winding down right before holidays when things get very busy. So January 15th and 16th is a Thursday and a Friday. We're thinking about something in a launch and kind of afternoon, evening event on the Thursday, and then a full day thing on the Friday. And so we'll give you more details about that, but I just want you to know that that's coming, and we have selected a date.
All right.
And thank you everybody for being here today. It's huge, your commitment. Yeah,
we know how hard it is in the middle of summer with all the programming that you're either missing right now, or wish you're at, whatever. So thank you so much, everybody. That's a wrap. Feedback form, events form, capturing that data will be really crucial. Looking forward to see what comes out in August independently when you guys work. And we're done. Let's go eat some fun bakery.
If anybody didn't sign in, please also do that in addition to the feedback form. Feedback forms are around.
Anyone in this room would like a t-shirt? We'll be in touch. Learn more.
Yeah.
Just make more sense.
Great. And then just know that this is just everyone's really busy, so this is
Okay, fine. Yeah, that is fine. I'm trying to figure out how this is all.
I know a bunch of games journalists.
Yeah. Well, I need to figure out first what the moonshot is and how it works.
Check it out, hang out with us. We'll have to have you here.
Yeah. No, it'll be good. You too, man. Thanks. Thanks for the email. I'll catch up with you a little bit later.